Hey, welcome back to church. We're so excited that you're here. Hey, we're going to continue what we've been talking about, these 5 F's. And this morning, like if you're watching this, you're like, it may not be morning, right? Maybe your afternoon or evening, right? But we're going to kick it off today with fitness. And this is going to be a topic that I believe a lot of people can benefit from. And I think it's something that God is leading us to just open up about. So we're excited to have this conversation with you. And so wherever you're at, relax, sit back, enjoy the conversation. Hey, put questions any platform you got. Hey, we'll try to get back to those questions as soon as possible. Hey? So, hey, Jason, how you doing this morning, man?
Good, man. Doing well. Fitness is something that has been on my heart a lot lately over the last few years. As I'm getting older, as I increase the number of children I have, it is increasingly more important and has been a constant struggle in my life back and forth. Okay. But we'll dive into it. So I felt like it was important to lay something down, put an episode out, and just be, as we say all the time, be real people and kind of share those things that have recently been on my heart, kind of habits I've been building, trying to improve some of the habits in my life and get rid of negative habits. And I think that's been the focus of my fitness journey lately. So,
you dropped a couple bombs right there. You
just dropping gems there, trying to hook people early in the episode.
Pull them in, right?
Stick with us, and we'll have 3 keys to. No. There's. I mean, I do have some keys, but there's not specific processes. Like there's specific things I follow, but there's not specific processes that I would say everybody has to follow. So I think there's a lot of fad diets. And by the way, not all fad diets are bad diets. Just made that up. Copyright. Not all fad diets are bad diets, but some fad diets tell you have to do things one way or the other. And I think everybody's body chemistry is different. I think everybody's able to maintain certain habits differently. But one thing I do want to talk about is sometimes people run from certain dietary choices, I would say, not diets, but eating healthy, changing things, taking things out of their diet, out of fear or complacency, laziness, whatever it is. And that I'm one of those people. And so what I had to do was get rid of excuses in terms of staying physically fit. I had to bail on excuses and start working hard, which was difficult. It was hard to kind of get rid of, clear that away, clear the cobwebs away, and get rid of things that I would call addictions. So, let's dive into it. I feel like, for me, I feel like my impression of you is that you've always been a fit guy. Like you always look impeccable, man. I love that about you. I'm trying to get like Warren out here in these streets and just, be more as a man. I think sometimes it's like, I want to be a little more physically impressive. But the funny thing is, as I've matured and gotten older, I want to be healthier.
Yeah.
Right. So I know some young guys are like, I want to get swole. And I'm like, I guess I would be happy to be, ripped or swole or jacked or whatever you want to say. I'd be fine with it. But the truth is, I want to live longer and be around for my family. So that was kind of the impetus for the fitness choices I've been making lately. But I actually want to hear from you first in some of the ways that you've approached diet or fitness or whatever that looks like for you. What's kind of your journey with that? Okay.
I said it a little while earlier, but you dropped some nuggets in there. I mean, you talked about excuses. We're gonna touch on that. You talked about addictions. Fitness for me has been kind of, I think, not necessarily an obsession. It's been a constant goal in my life. I don't want to psychotherapy people, but things that happen in your childhood, they follow you. And so here, quick side note, quick off road to parents who are listening, right? Things that you're doing today in the presence of your children, even directly or indirectly, it will impact them. And so I lost my father at an early age. He actually battled cancer twice.
Twice
in his life. He beat it once.
Wow.
And then another type of cancer came back, and it was ferocious. And so being fit and being healthy was always a part of being present for me, because I knew what it felt like to be a young man to lose his leader, right? And so I tied my fitness goals to being healthy and not being sick. And that kind of got that from my father. And so, but I haven't always, I've had some real struggles. I'm not a naturally fit type person. I know. No. Thank you for the compliments too.
What? Get out of town.
But it's not natural. I know some people, their body types, they just don't struggle. They have fast metabolisms. And these people, fitness just comes kind of natural to them. Fitness is something I have to actively work at. And so it's about knowing where you want to go and kind of just being consistent with it. And so since we're church, God, he just ties life into things that we deal with. And so if you're out there and you're listening to this and you're like, hey, I want to improve my fitness, and you talked about fad diets for a second, you can get on any train you want to. I mean, if you go back 10 years ago, 20 years ago, there's always new equipment, there's new fads, there's new ways to eat. We're always learning new different things. But here's the thing. It's about consistently doing what you need to do, moving your body, exercise, eating right. And people say that what to eat, like it's this thing, right? We have this inert thing inside of us that we know that when we're doing something wrong and when we're doing something right.
We do.
And so we have to apply that to fitness. We can't be like, I don't know. And you're like, yeah, but snack cakes aren't good for you. Coca-Cola is probably not the best thing for you, right? So you may not know like macros and how much protein and all this stuff, but you do know that probably where you are right now won't get you to where you want to go, right? So it's all about consistency, planning your week out and making space to put your health at one of your top priorities. I use this kind of connection with fitness and faith that you can't just jump in your faith and be like, yeah, I haven't been doing anything in my faith, but I'm doing the 21-day fasting and praying. Yes, that will jumpstart you and get you back connected with God. But after day 21, if you make it to day 21, right? Because most fasts nowadays are like 21 days, right? After that 21st day, if you go back to doing what you were doing before, not giving God your time and your priority, right? Then guess what? What you've built will slowly start to diminish, right? You have to consistently be like, this is not just a fad diet or a period of time where I'm going to get healthy. You have to make a decision to say, hey, I'm going to prioritize my health because I represent God, right? And in order to be the best I can for him, I have to be the best me I can be. And so that's how we connect fitness in with our faith. It's not something you're going to start and stop and get to like, I'm a diet for a wedding or I'm a diet for a special event and then go back. Like that's not how we live our life for Christ. And so we live consistently every day, praying, seeking God. And some days, yeah, we get busy, right? And we spend a small amount of time with God. And some days we spend all day focused on the word, speaking the word. And those days help carry us through our life. So that's how I approach fitness. It's a constant. It's not an option. And I believe that in order to be successful, just having a healthy mindset and a healthy body, right? Is just number one, stop comparing yourself to other people, right? And number two, follow your instincts of what you know is good for you. You know what makes you feel bad. You know what makes you feel good, right? And food in the moment can make us feel good. Almost like sin, right? Gluttony is a sin, like right? That. Almost like sin, right? Food can make us feel good. If we're sad, food can pacify that sadness. If we're depressed. So quit turning to food, right? And turn to the Lord for strength, right? And so that's easy said, but hard to do, right? But the more you work that muscle, the stronger it gets. And so for me, fitness has not always, I've not always been good at it. But over the years, God has helped me be consistent at it. And it's helped my life, man. I want to be here for my kids and my grandkids, my great grandkids. Only God knows how much time we have. But this is the thing you have. You have the ability to choose what kind of time you have.
Yeah.
You can't stop a disease from knocking on the door of your life. You can't stop a sickness or an injury. You can't prevent those things. And you don't know how many days you have, but you do get to choose what kind of days you have. And you choose by what you put in your mouth and what you do with your body. That's your responsibility. You have to take responsibility for your life. So I'm speaking to all people out there who are struggling right now. I struggle too. I mean, I've been almost 300 pounds before in my life. In the United States Navy, just going up and down, yo-yo dieting. And I've been on the bodybuilding stage. So I've been on both sides of that spectrum, like morbidly obese, kinda, but really strong and fit, and then very lean, right? And you want to find your happy medium and consistently live your life, because if you jump in and out of fads, it just won't work for you. And it's the same way with your faith. It's the same way with following Christ. You have to find a position in your life where you're prioritizing God over everything. And then everything else kind of falls in line. So I believe fitness, you start with your faith, right? Because you can't do this without God, especially if you're a person who struggles. You really can't do this without God. And if you're walking with God, he will give you the strength to do this. And you'll find a lot of analogies through your fitness journey with your walk with God, the struggles, the hard times. And then all of a sudden there's a breakthrough. So that's kind of my and I know I was on my soapbox for a little while, but I've struggled a lot of time with periods of my life where I felt like I was at a healthy weight, and then something would happen. It would be like maybe I was not eating cookies for a period, and then I'd have a cookie and I fall off a cliff, man. Like, whew, like gone. Like I'd have one cookie, next thing you know, next day 2 cookies. Then cookies are just, they're back.
They're back in there.
and I'm the kind of person that, if you open a bag of chips, we're about to finish the bag of chips. There's no chip clip needed in my house. It's about to go down, right? And so, Jason, kind of a question I have for you is, have you ever, is that something you struggle with? Like falling off a cliff, like getting progress, and then all of a sudden, like having a relapse, and then it taking weeks or maybe months to get back on that fitness train?
Yeah, maybe years. So for me, I feel like I didn't plan it like this, but you and I have very similar tendencies when it comes to food. For me, it is a cliff. And for me, I talked about it a little bit earlier, but in terms of my fitness journey, the first thing I had to do recently, within the last 5 years of my life or so, maybe last 7 years, I had to acknowledge and accept that I was addicted to junk food, to unhealthy food, to the experience, not only just to the food, but to the experience of opening the bag of chips, having the bag of chips, like you said, finishing it in one movie, and then wondering as you reach into the bag to grab another chip halfway through the movie, why you're at the crumbs. Like, how did this happen? I just opened this bag. Who took the rest of the chips, but it hasn't moved away from you. So it's you. And I think that's the thing is we know, like, we can acknowledge in the moment that we realize it's gone too far, that it's bad for us. But that's the challenge, I think, is each morning, once I'm hungry again, that's when I want, a bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit and an orange juice and whatever those things are. And I don't want to pick on specific things. Like, to me, again, it's about balance, calories in, calories out, and acknowledging that you want less calories in than calories out if you want to lose weight or you want to maintain those things. And sometimes I think if you're in a healthy season of like bodybuilding, you want more calories in. And that's what I meant, where it's up to each person what their goals are.
Yeah.
But for me, health is the goal. And I know that I went through seasons of completely unhealthy eating. Growing up, you mentioned earlier that looking to your dad and kind of his health issues made you kind of think about those things for seasons. For me, honestly, our household, we kind of just like free for all. I had 2 parents that worked. So for me, I took advantage of that. Like I'm putting the blame on me and saying, I didn't have to drive to Burger King every day. There was a season in my life where when I went to Burger King, I had a friend in high school who worked there, and I could pull up to the window and say, I'd like the Jason special. And he knew what order I was getting, and I would just pull around to the window. But as fun as that is, as funny as that story is, that's also how unhealthy the amount of bacon double cheeseburgers with a large fry and a large drink, or like a large soda that I was taking in. And there were definitely periods in my life where I was eating 4,000 calories a day, 600 grams of carbohydrate. And that was during the period where I'm sitting at a desk all day. Wow. So what happened for me was playing basketball my whole life from the age of 5, staying fit because of that, staying whatever level of fitness I was not because of my diet. It was because of being active, and then transitioning from being active. And I think this is a lot of people's stories, right? This is, you're active as a kid, you transition to the working world, and maybe you're sitting at a desk, you don't have an active career, and then your calories in all of a sudden jumps way higher than your calories out. So for me, it was basketball kind of fading in my life, and my graphic design career, being at a desk, getting married, losing some of that energy from your kids get your energy, not working out at 11 p.m. You're not just going to the gym because you're single and you want the wife and kids. Yeah. But that you're not able to go to the gym at night anymore because your wife needs help with the kids. And I think that's awesome. Yeah. I think that's a season in life. Well, what I didn't do, I didn't adjust my life to those changes. So I ate, I've said this many times, I ate like my body was at a carnival almost my whole life. You get those fried Oreos, that kind of feeling. Cakes and all that. Yeah. I ate like that. It's kind of a metaphor, but I ate similar to that. Yeah. Doritos all the time, fruit snacks, love those big cookies for $0.25 in school lunches. Lunch line, I always chose nachos with fake cheese because I love that fake cheese. And so that's the things that I had to start acknowledging was all these things. But that's what happened is I kept eating like that with no activity. And so I went from 180 pounds. So I'm 5'9", 180 pounds, walking around, pretty good shape. And now that I acknowledge it, now that I noticed the habits I had, I could have been in much better shape, but I felt like I was in pretty good shape. And then got up to 320. And so at that point, it was starting to get, dangerous levels. And so the story for my fitness journey started when one of our kids was born. So this is a story I feel like I got to tell about my fitness journey. Okay. One of our kids was born, and I think it was Ruby. So she's number 6. So from kid 1 to kid 6, I had gained 140 pounds. And it's not their fault. It's just I was eating like a carnival, and I wasn't working out like an athlete anymore. So we're sitting in the hospital, and Ruby's there, and they have nurses that come in and out to check on the babies, make sure everything's healthy, their vitals are good, things like that. So we had a nurse that we hadn't seen yet, and the hospital we stayed at, they did a great job of the nurses introducing themselves. So it was a little unusual that we hadn't seen this nurse yet. And she said, "No, I'm just down from the heart ward, or the cardiac ward, if you will, where thankfully they were light on traffic that day. So she was able to come down and help out with the babies, and they had a bunch of babies born that day." So I made a comment. I said, "Oh, well, that's good. Not a lot of people are dying of heart disease and things like that. That's nice." And she said, "Yeah, that is good." And I said, "It must be sad to see all those older people kind of fading from their heart failing." And she said, "That's the thing, is this cardiac ward upstairs is full of 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds who are eating themselves to death." She told a story where there was a gentleman upstairs who was not 50, 40-something years old, dying because of heart disease caused by diabetes because of overeating. And his wife was sneaking him in pizza. And she snuck him in pizza because his addiction was so strong. He had to have it or he got emotional. Right? Ooh. And I had a moment sitting there, listening to her tell the story, realizing I was something like 33 years old at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm 37 now. And it was that point. I told my wife, my daughter was born July 9th. That was terrible parenting. I was like, hold on, I know her birthday. I told her 1 week from that day, I'm starting my fitness journey. So I picked a day, July 16th. And I had heard on, I think like the Joe Rogan podcast or somewhere, that when you're starting a journey, it's good to pick a day. And it had been on my heart and I had been fighting it because I don't want to give up the things I love. I don't want to give up bags of unwrapped Starbursts at 10 p.m. That was my favorite snack, a bag of unwrapped Starbursts and a 20-ounce cherry Coke. And I finished the whole thing every time I did it. So there was no control at all, no self-control, no exterior control, because my wife was awesome about it and said, look, I'm scared for you, but I'm not your mom. You got to make a choice for you, but I want you around for our family. So that was the day when I was like, I might be dying of heart disease someday if I don't turn this around. And I'm sure I did some damage to my body. Who knows what we'll find out later. But what I made my choice was, like you said, I don't know how long I have, but I can choose what my time looks like. And that's what I did. I said, July 16th, we're going to start. So for me, the thing that worked, the thing that I enjoy, was a ketogenic diet, where basically all I did was raise the amount of fat I eat and lowered the amount of carbohydrates so that my body could burn a different source of fuel, because I love carbohydrates. And I think I used to deny those things, like I could stop anytime. Now I look at sugars and extra carbohydrates that I don't need like an addiction. I treat them like cigarettes. And so I'm not going to jump back in and have one Dorito. Because then that could be a gateway Dorito, you know?
That is a gateway
I don't
Dorito.
want to risk it. Yeah. So I don't have gateway Starbursts. I don't have gateway Skittles anymore. And it's been an awesome 4-year journey. And even in that 4 years, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster. So I got off the wagon. I lost 100 pounds in a year. Almost exactly 100 pounds from July 16th of 19 to July 16th of 20. I love the before and after picture there. And then COVID hit and I gained, I gained probably 50 of it back. So now I'm on the journey back down. And since I started again, November 12th last year, so November 12th of 23, I have lost 18.6 pounds.
Let's go.
As of today.
Come on, man.
So, and what are we at? February? Well, you shouldn't say dates on podcasts, because then when you put it out later or whatever.
Somewhere in February.
February 24, yeah. So, but my goal is to just get, I have a number in mind. So I want to get down to 185, because that's similar to college. But the truth is, I'll probably be healthier at that 185 than I ever was at 175 or 180 in college, dumping cheeseburgers into my body, but playing basketball. So for me, a ketogenic diet works. And by the way, for those that don't know how that works, is ketones are produced by your body when fat breaks down, typically in the liver. And what happens is those ketones go around your body and they eat the fat. Think of it that way. They're cells that are looking for fat to digest for you. And so you use the fat on your body. So what's good to pair that with is I do intermittent fasting, where I try not to eat until lunchtime every day and then stop eating at 8 p.m. the night before. And then certain days, like I think I'm starting Monday, I'd have to look at the calendar, but I try to do 3 days where I do an 80-hour fast. So, and it's basically, I picked 80 hours because it's a nice round number, but it's also 3 days plus a morning. So then it's a good time. I can start at midnight one night and then, 3 days later plus 8 a.m. the next morning, I can eat breakfast and break the fast. So anyway, it just clears away. Fasting is great because it clears away the cobwebs, if you will, kind of clears away the mess. Your cells go into autophagy where they eat. So autophagy is the good cells in your body eating the dying cells. So fasting has been associated with preventing cancer, heart disease, things like that, because the bad cells in your body are getting cleared away. So your body working and being consistent in producing ketones and producing good cells is essential to health, is what I've learned. And I think the proof is in the pudding, and the pudding was awesome when I lost 100 pounds. So that's been a little bit about my fitness journey. It's been a struggle, and it's a struggle every day, but I'm going to take it head on. You mentioned something earlier, and this was the point, I think, of all of this, all these facts I'm giving you, all this journey I've been on. I want to stay on it because I realized I'm an example. At the very least, I'm an example for my kids, but in my Christian faith, I want to be an example for everybody I interact with.
Yeah.
And I realized being overweight, you can have a great personality, but something about how you take care of yourself reflects to people. So I'm not saying you're less valuable if you're overweight. I'm not saying you're less valuable if you struggle with all of these kind of what I would call food addictions, or you're just so emotionally hurt that you seek food, right? You're not a bad person for those things.
Come on.
But you got to understand the example that you're being for other people.
Yeah.
And to me, it is so important to be a good example that I'm willing to sacrifice.
Let's go.
Or what I see as a sacrifice. I know some people love vegetables. I'm jealous of those people. Like the people that just dive into, like salads and just can, for me, I'm a cookie monster for actual cookies, but I see people that they just love a good Caesar salad. I'm like, that's great. I'm so thankful for people like that too. So,
wow.
Anyway, that's been my journey.
Jason,
that's my struggle.
Dude, thank you for sharing that piece of your life, that story, right? Very intimate part of your story, part of your life, man, and those struggles, right? Because I think people may see the product that you are now, and they don't even know that there's a period of your life where you were losing 100 pounds in a year. Like that is significant. And so that's a good segue into one thing I want to point out for everyone listening and for us is that God will send us, He will send us things to spark our attention towards a problem or something we need to address in our life. And it's up to us to take action upon it. What am I saying? So Jason specifically told you a story about, hey, my daughter was being born, and here God redirected my attention. Like I could have just focused on, hey, this is the baby, this is that. But God sent information to him that totally changed his life. While something else amazing is happening, God still, so you have to be sensitive to the information that's coming your way. I got a kind of a similar story. I'm a vegan. I'll put that out there. I'm the kind of person who loves vegetables. But
that's awesome.
But I'm a vegan for a reason. Obviously, I don't want to kill animals, but that's not the reason I'm a vegan. I'm a vegan for health reasons, right? Several years ago, my older brother, who's 3 years older than me, had a massive heart attack to the point where he actually was not with us for a little bit. Thank God for first responders. And he was mid-40s at the time. And so this really woke me up to be like, whoa, wait a minute. And so I just took a hard look at my life. I'd had a shoulder injury at the time, and I was being diagnosed with pre-hypertension, and it's just high blood pressure. And I decided to make that change in my life. I tried it out, and it normalized all of my blood work and my blood pressure, and it worked for me. But let me tell you, being a vegan is, it's not like we eat vegetables all the time. There's this thing called junk food vegan, like straight up. There's things you can eat that are vegan, that like Oreos, tortilla chips, like in anything you do, even in a keto diet, you can, there's things you can just consume too much of and it not be good. Right.
Right.
But that was one of those moments where I felt the pushing, the kind of the notification of God, like you might want to take stock in your own life, like what's going on here, like pay attention to what's happening, right? And so I just want to kind of, encourage you to be like, just pay attention to the signals, because God's speaking to you through everyday things that are happening. Don't be oblivious. Don't just be like, no, that's not for me. Yep. If you thought it, that was for you. And especially if it's pushing you from a wrong direction to a right direction. Yep. That's his voice saying, hey, I'm sending you warning signs. I don't want you to have to deal with these health problems or issues later on in life. So, Jason, you touched on something else. Just amazing story is that you picking a date, right? You picked a date,
Yeah.
and then you lost 100 pounds, right? And then COVID happened, right? And this is good for me. This is good for all of us. COVID happened. It happened to us. Nobody was ready for COVID. I mean, I'm talking to hundreds of people. Nobody saw that coming, right? And so it threw us. It just took the world by storm. Like, what? Took the government by storm, right? Everything in life changed. And the progress that you had made, you lost some of it. And instead of like continue to fall off the cliff, somewhere along the line, you turned around and you grabbed the wall and said, nope, I'm going back up. And I believe a lot of us in life, we've tasted success on our goals, and then something happened, right? And some of us may be falling today, right? I just want to remind you, hey, you're falling, just turn around, grab the rock, we can climb back up this thing, right? And I love it because you said, I set another date. Man, so good. I set another date, right? Because what another date does, right? You still remember the first date you set and the success you had, but you acknowledged something has happened. I have to start over. I have to begin fresh from today. I can't keep living off of yesterday's success. I have to start again, right? And this is true for fitness. This is true for faith, that there is no shame in knowing that in life, we're going to go up, we're going to go down. And sometimes we got to set another date, right? We serve a God who specializes in resetting our life. We have to receive the love of God, the forgiveness of God, the grace of God that allows us another opportunity, right? So if you're a person who's like, man, I've tried this before, it's failed. Hey, guess what? There's another date for you, right? There's just because your past looks like this, God is waiting to reset you so you can get back on this journey. Don't be discouraged. We all have had to set another date, right? So just be encouraged that you're not alone. You may look at someone and be like, they don't know my struggles. Let me tell you, fitness is one of the things that is universal to us as human beings. Everybody has their personal struggles, but this is something, especially in America, that a great deal of the population is struggling with. The fitness industry is booming because everybody's looking for a quick fix. If I can tell you one consistent thing, it's not going to happen fast. It's not. Yeah. It's not going to happen fast.
I'm glad you brought that up. So we talked about this in the finances episode, and I was just thinking this as you were saying it. We are in sync in our thinking about this. So delayed gratification,
come on,
is a thing that our society is not built for. Corporations don't want that because it means you'll spend your money slow.
Yep.
It means you'll eat less than you need to. It means you'll consume less than you need to. And I think big pharma, big corporations, all of these places that thrive off of you making decisions in the moment and making them for the moment, they don't want you thinking about long term. And so if you can work on one thing in your life for fitness goals, delayed gratification. What does that mean? That means I eat Doritos today and I feel good for a moment. It's temporary, right? But if I avoid those Doritos, the delayed gratification is looking awesome at the beach. It's not dying of heart disease at 40. It's being around for your kids, having energy for your kids. You can be around, but not be available because you're so exhausted.
Yeah.
Because you work a hard job, but then you put a bunch of things into your body, right, that are not going to benefit you. So those of you that are smoking, drinking, eating Doritos, I want to tell you, I'm not shaming you, because my addiction to a Cool Ranch Dorito is the exact same as yours to drinking or cigarettes. And let me encourage you, there's a reason I don't eat Doritos. There's a reason you should consider less of those other things. So if I see someone smoking, I'm never like, well, look at them. At least I'm not doing that. Right? I'm not going to cast stones because I'm not without sin. Every time I see a bag of Skittles, I have to go take a step back. Nope. Those wild berry Skittles call my name every time.
I like the tropical.
Okay. Oh, well, and I used to down a bag of sour Skittles at the movies. Like that was like, so that's the other thing that I noticed is all of these things are like ritualistic. And if they're ritualistic, that's got to be the sign of an addiction, right? I'm worshiping this food. Like it's hurting me emotionally to not have a bag of unwrapped Starburst ready for me if we have a movie night, so much so that I would go out and get them. And so if I'm working that hard, excuse me, if I'm working that hard to maintain a negative habit, how much harder should I be working to maintain positive habits? And one thing I really had to ask myself, do I care about Skittles and Starbursts and all the junk food that I loved, all the pizza, all the everything that I enjoyed? Do I care about that more than my kids? Do I care about that more than my wife? And not just the example I'm being for them, but having energy for them. So I was around, but I didn't have energy to play with my kids some days. And so it just got discouraging. So then what does that do? It makes you eat more Skittles. It makes you eat more Starburst. And just to be clear, I'm not picking on any of those companies. Everybody's got their thing. I don't like Almond Joy, but I know people that would be their thing, right? I don't prefer those things. Everybody's got their thing. So I don't want like anybody who's looking to copyright strike us because we're shaming Starburst. I'm just trying to be real. That was my thing. And
because they're so good.
I guess what I'm saying is they're awesome. So I have to run from them. I have to run from the things that would challenge my fitness goals. And so one thing I would encourage people about is study, learn, practice delayed gratification. And then the other thing I would do is find replacements. That's the thing that people don't talk about a lot. And I think a lot of people make excuses about it. Like, oh, that doesn't taste quite the same. I don't like the flavor of this. I like the flavor of that. I understand, but I might challenge you in saying, but if this thing is 90% healthier than the other. So cookies, you mentioned earlier. Well, I started eating Quest cookies for snacks. And this cookie that's a good size cookie is only 4 grams of carbs. So I have 1, maybe 2 sometimes, but 1 a day. And I'll have it with some coffee that doesn't have normal creamer. It has heavy cream because it's a little shot of fat for those people that are on a ketogenic diet. You got to get more fat in because that's what your body's looking for fuel. You lower the carbohydrates so that it can burn the fat and burn the carbohydrate away. But my point to you is I don't fill my coffee cup with, I use stevia for sweetener instead of sugar because it does not metabolize. You actually, sorry to be crass, but you pee it out essentially. In and out. You use stevia instead of sugar. Sugar gets jammed up in your arteries and that actually turns into fat. So one of the myths that I want people to look into is that if you eat more fat like steak, it turns into fat in your body. That is actually not true. They studied it, and the reason people were dying of heart disease and fat in their arteries was because of sugar that quickly turns into fat. So I don't know if most people know this. Your body can burn 2 sources of fuel. That's it. Fat and sugar. So the bread you eat, your body is turning that into sugar to burn. The challenge is when you put too much of it in, it keeps it and stores it as fat for later, which then it never gets to burn because you never stop eating bread. And so that's the challenge we face as a culture is you're going to be inundated with ways to not delay gratification, and ways not to replace these things that are unhealthy. But if you seek them out and work for it, much like faith, much like Jesus, if you seek them out, look for it, and work on your relationship with, fill in the blank, food, Jesus, fitness, right? Interchangeable, not as important as each other. Want to be clear about that, but interchangeable in that your dedication and consistency will win the day.
Come on.
And eventually you will find you do not crave those Starbursts and Skittles. Like, I don't crave them anymore. I understand that they're a temptation and I would still enjoy them, but I'm good to walk away from them now. Like, we had a clean breakup. It was hard for a while. I used to write love letters back and I used to text them in the evenings and they wouldn't respond. But eventually I was able to heal from that. And so I'm thankful to say, I'm not going to step back into whole bowls or whole bags of Doritos. I'm not going to order normal pizzas, but I still get to have pizza. That's the cool part about replacements, right? There's a replacement right there. Cauliflower crust is actually low carbohydrate. And so it's about 11 grams for a whole personal pizza. But the thing that I really struggled with, that I think a lot of people would struggle with, or some of you guys listening are eye rolling, kind of like, I can't do that. Like, I couldn't get rid of, because this is so good. I had to get rid of the ritual.
Yeah.
I had to stop treating the food like it's precious. And I had to start treating it like it's fuel for my body, that if I find a way to enjoy it and it's still healthy, that's good.
Change your pattern.
But it's just fuel. Yeah, it's the right gasoline for my car. So anyway, now I'm on a soapbox about fitness. I'm going to kick it back to you. I know we have a couple more things to say kind of about techniques or specialized things you and I do. So I'll let you kind of go first if you're ready to talk about that. Like, what are ways that you work to stay fit? Like, practical things that you apply to your life. We've kind of talked about the theory for about 40 minutes. What's the kind of ways you execute personally, Warren? Not that everybody's going to do it the same way, but how do you execute fitness? Is that a good way to say that?
Yeah. So one thing, and it's funny because I said it, we're actually shooting this podcast in the morning. So whenever you watch it, but it's a metaphor for kind of how my relationship with fitness. So I spent a lifetime in the United States Navy. And the military, we do what we call PT, physical training, got acronyms for everything.
Got to have an acronym for that.
And it always starts in the morning, like from boot camp. And I played high school football too. And so, and you never practice high school football. You don't practice in the morning, you practice in the afternoon. Military is totally flipped. They wake you up and they're like, good morning, time to PT. And it's like you're off to the races. And so, I caught that wind early in my life and it just kind of stuck. And so for me, my mornings I start my mornings with God in the Word. And then it is not check my phone. It is, let's go, run, weights, gym, let's do it. And I found that that's my battle rhythm. And when I miss it or I sleep in and I say, oh, I'm gonna go to the gym later really never comes. It's in my experience, right? It's hard for me to go after 12 o'clock. Woo, right? And so normally I have to get up and do that prior to going to work or prior to starting my day. The only days I usually don't get up early and go to the gym is Sunday. That's kind of my Sabbath from going to the gym. I just kind of take a rest day and let my body kind of recoup. But I started early. And so that requires two things. It requires a commitment, right? Commitment to it, because now I have to sacrifice that morning sleep, right? Because you still got to get enough sleep. That means you have to go to sleep earlier. But there's something about morning sleep, man. Ooh, and like when you've been asleep for a couple hours and the alarm goes off at 4 and you're like, man, this is the best sleep, the snooze button sleep. So you have to battle that. You got to be committed to like, okay, I got to get up. I got to do this. You have to push yourself. And I'm gonna tell you, it's never easy starting. It's never easy, like getting out of the bed. And even when I'm excited to go and I'm pumped up to go, it's always after I'm moving, right? After I'm moving, that's when the strength comes, right? And I love it because it ties back into our walk with God, right? It's when we make a step towards God, we realize that he's always been there, but we're now finally paying attention to him being there. And it's funny that when we know he's there, it's like we can now operate in the strength that comes from knowing that God's with us. And I'm gonna tell you, there's been some days where it's been like 4 a.m. and I pull up in the gym parking lot. I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this. I need more pre-workout. And by the time I get in there, right? By the time I get in there and the music is going and I'm pumped, it turns out to be one of the best workouts. Like some of the days where you really don't want to go turn out to be so rewarding. I mean, so amazing. And so for me, that's kind of the thing that's kind of caught me. Like, it's hard. It never gets easier starting your day off with the thing you do after your time with God is go work out. That never gets easy. I don't care who you are, professional body, you still have to wake up and do it. Right. And so that's just, it's caught me. It helps me keep discipline on the forefront of my life. And it helps my day. My day just goes better when I start the day that way, when I'm not looking like, oh, and when I don't do it, I have something hanging over my head. So for people who are like trying to start, or you're like, hey, try it. It's going to be hard. You're going to want to quit. And guess what? There's going to be days where you just sleep in and you're going to miss it. That's kind of something that just is kind of, that I have to adopt it from the military. That's just kind of worked for my life. So that's just kind of the piece. I want to segue just a little bit, couple seconds, for people who are just struggling, period. You think you have to go to a gym, or you think you don't know where to start. Let me give you a practical point here. Just a practical point, something you can do today. Go for a walk. Go for a walk. And I recommend that you go for a walk without music, right? If you need music, take music. And if you got to have music, take an instrumental. And if you haven't been on a walk in a very long time, go for a 10-minute walk. Start small. This is practical, what you can do. Matter of fact, take a 10-minute walk after every meal you eat. It will start to transform your life. It will change it. It's something that you can do practically right away. Walking does amazing for helping your metabolism to start burning fat right off the bat, right? Then build on that. Get up to an hour, push it, right? The walking is something practical you can do, and it has great health benefits for you. But here's the goal, right? And I'm speaking to all of my people, 35 and plus. I'm talking to you. I'm calling you out right now, right? Calling you out, right? Because if you don't use it, you will lose it, period, right? So I read a study just yesterday that people over 35, 95% of the people over 35 in America will never sprint again.
Never?
Boom. Just think about it. People over 35
95
will never sprint again.
Oh, that hurt me.
Like they will never sprint again. Like it's like, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. So here's one of the goals I would like for you to set for your life, right? I'm a component of cardio because it helps keep your heart strong. It works your muscles, and running is one of the most fundamental things that if you really want to make some changes in your body, running will help get you there. It's a tool. There's a lot of tools out there, but I'm telling you, I'm an old Navy guy, and we did a lot of running, and it works.
Yeah,
it works.
To be clear, you're an old Navy guy, not an old Navy guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm more of a Gap guy myself. No, I'm just kidding. So it's interesting you said that, because I think of even weirder or funnier scenarios when you're like 95% over 35. Like, what happens if a flood comes? You know, I think about practical things like, what if I have to scoop my kid up and run because there's a bomb?
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that, like, I think I'm an action hero in my own mind, but that's what I thought of immediately was like, could they do it?
Yeah.
Because if you don't do it,
you
lose the ability to do it. And then
you lose the ability. And
that hurts.
And that's what we really want. You want to maintain the ability to be strong, right? And here is, I've had a lot of these today in this podcast, but guys just downloaded them to me. Like, if you want to go for a 10-minute walk, you don't have to do anything. You don't. You just you can, we get up and walk to the kitchen. It's how we move around. It's universal. If you can walk, you're blessed. There's people who can't walk, right? But it's something that you don't really have to prepare for. It's just something that you do, But if you want to run for any significant amount of time, more than a minute, you have to prepare for it, right? You got to have on the right clothes, the right shoes, got to have the right mindset, because after a few minutes, you're going to want to stop, right? And so you want to build back up to that point where you're intentionally preparing for life. And that's what fitness is about, being prepared for life. As a father, a man of God, one thing that this is just me, right? This is just Warren. I gauge how much I need to be able to lift by how many daughters I have. It's just something. Lord forbid my home ever catch on fire, but my fitness goal in life is practical. If my home is on fire and I get out of the house, I want to be strong enough and fast enough to go back into a burning house and carry all my daughters out. That's the level of strength I need, right? And I have 4 daughters. So, and if their mom's in there, I got to get her too, right? So,
exactly.
So that's my bar, right? And people are like, what are you talking about? Like, I add up all the weights, right? They're I got some little girls right now. So as they get older, it's going to get harder, but I think they'll leave the home. So see, it kind of balances out.
Yeah. The number, you can balance it out.
But it's practical for me, right? That's practical for me. So attach your fitness goals to something practical, right? For your life. Like, why be strong? Why be able to run? Why be able to do these things? Why is this important? Number one, you represent God. You need to look good, right? And we're not being vain about this, but your discipline and your faith, right? These things, they walk in the same way. We can't say, hey, I put God first. He's everything about my life. And then we don't take care of the vessel that he's given us to represent him. When we speak, right? When we talk about God, our life reflects that, right? And we're not perfect, right? But this is something that helps us flex that particular spiritual muscle, right? I have disciplines in my life, in my finances, in my walk with Christ, also in what I'm putting in my mouth and what I'm doing with my body, right? All these things need to line up. And guess what? If you're not there, join the club. None of us are. This is a lifelong journey. Be encouraged, because we're all here learning. We're all here doing the best we can do, waking up in the morning or going in the afternoon, being consistently intentional about our life, right? And what kind of days we have. And so, Jason, tell us something unique about your fitness kind of setup and things you do that has kind of helped you over the past couple months. You started back in November. Give us something practical that has kind of helped you.
Yeah. So there's 4 facets, or maybe 5, of what I'm doing, the journey that I'm on. Mm-hmm. So the 5 that I think of right away is ketogenic diet. So under 40 grams of carbs, practically every day. Sometimes 50, sometimes 30, but I try to average about 40 grams a day. And just to be clear, the average like meal at a Chick-fil-A or McDonald's is something like 200 grams of carbs. Ooh. So you really have to focus. I do a lot of chicken sandwiches, which I love, are kind of my splurge, but I do them with no bun.
Ooh, okay.
So it's just the patty, which is about 12 to 15 grams of carbs. And the funny thing is, in these rhythms, you learn these things. Okay. You start noticing like, oh, this is going to be this many grams of carbs. Mm-hmm. You can kind of estimate it as you spend time researching, studying it, and figuring out what you want to do. So a ketogenic diet, basically low carbohydrate, higher fat than usual. Fasting, so intermittent fasting or longer term fasting for short periods, like once a month, things like that. Working out, so staying active. But the interesting thing I do is I try to mix it up. So I throw in basketball. Okay. I throw in working out at home. Shout out to Center Fit by Chris Hemsworth. So that's been an incredible thing for both me and my kids. They join me in the workouts. So opposite of what you're doing a little bit, I typically work out in the afternoons because my kids have started wanting to work out with me. Okay. And to me, I want to be that example. Yeah. I happen to have a career where I can do that. Yeah. So it works with our schedule. But I want to continue to be the example, and I get them to join me. At least one or two of the kids each time. And sometimes it's different kids. They'll join me in whatever I'm doing. Now the two unique things that I've added recently are saunas. So 12-minute saunas at 105, 106 degrees, something like that along those lines. It's like maybe 110. And then 3 minutes of cold plunge.
3 minutes?
So
3.
Yeah, 3 minutes, 3 whole minutes. Plus the time it takes to get out. So the first minute, let me say the first 30 seconds is always the toughest, but after that you actually kind of adjust. I find that if you hold your body still, you adjust quicker. So there's times I move my hands and they feel frozen in the water. So I just kind of find a position, relax my body. Almost every time my shoulders get tense because of the cold, like my body's reacting. So I try to relax my neck and I kind of do a little exercise with it, move it around. But my son, Matthew, and I have gotten up to 3 minutes in the cold plunge.
Oh, wow.
Each time we do it. And so we have an alarm on our phone. And that's been another cool thing is he and I sauna and cold plunge together too.
Wow.
So it's good to have, maybe that's a practical thing I could apply to all this is the delayed gratification, right? Get rid of the unhealthy rituals. And the third thing is if you can get some accountability partner for working out, get yourself a partner and go do it together. Or if you have some guy or girl you can meet at the gym and say, hey, you want to work out together? They might not be somebody in your family. I want to apply this to somebody who lives alone or has a humongous family. It doesn't matter. Find someone that you can maybe do things with together. Like when I play basketball, I'm in theory working out with 9 other guys.
Yeah.
So it's a chance for fellowship and it makes the working out easier.
Yeah.
Because you're interacting, you're distracted. You're not thinking about the pain of whatever is happening. You're like, man, this is just fun. Yeah. Like we're out here competing maybe a little bit. We're out here pushing each other. We're out here supporting each other. And I think that is the key is finding the support, whether it's in a person or in God.
Man, that's
like
good.
You're going to find a way to get the support in your life that you need, but you're going to have to seek it.
Yeah.
If you're waiting for it to come to you, most people are too busy and God's not too busy, but you definitely have to go seek him.
Come on.
God will work a miracle in your life, but he needs a foundation to do it.
Ooh.
So that's what I would say. So for me, ketogenic diet, fasting, working out, cold plunge, sauna. And then, I can't wait to see where I end up.
Come on.
The goal isn't end up like the end up is when I'm 80 and I can still sprint,
Yeah.
Now that you said that, by the way, I'm going to track every year whether I can still sprint or not.
Let's go.
We're going to have to line up every year.
When's the last?
So I know I can sprint this year. Like this semester at school, I will actually be playing intramural basketball and I will be the oldest person by about 15, 20 years.
And you're probably going to score the most points. I'm just saying.
No, not the most, but up there. It'll be up there. We'll do all right. We'll put some highlights. We'll put some highlights on the YouTube channel. No, we won't. We won't do that.
We need to put a cold plunge.
Oh, we should. I mean, I'll do that. Like you know what we should do? I'll think about this. When I do a cold plunge, do like a, Instagram reel, be like, hey guys, good to see you. There's guys that do cold plunges and they don't physically react at all. They'll just like talk to the camera, but I know it's cold. They pull the thermometer out and it's cold, but they've just got the self-control that takes, or maybe their nervous system is different than mine. Cause every time I get in, if I had to talk to you, it would be, sometimes it's challenging. So
hey,
anyway,
I just want to put this out here. I'm from Houston, Texas, and I won't be doing a cold plunge. My name's Warren Brown and I approve this message. It ain't happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, this has been an amazing just conversation and talk. I really enjoy sharing just kind of the journey, kind of how practically how God works in every aspect of our life. If we didn't get anything out of this, or if you're like, oh man, this is the key concept, right? Keep moving. And it's like a fitness pun, right? But you're gonna have ups, you're gonna have downs, but the thing is to be consistent and keep moving. Every day, you may not be able to do what you have planned to do, but if you can get 10 minutes in, right, that you're still moving in the right direction, right? And days where you don't get anything in, right, then there's tomorrow, right? But consciously keep this on the forefront of what you're doing with your life. Don't let it fall to the wayside. And this is for everybody, no matter where you are, no matter how young or old you are. There's not an age expiration for you to take care of the vessel that God has given you. We can't stop ourselves from getting older. That's just naturally going to happen, right? The more sunrises and sunsets we see, we're going to get older. But we can stop ourselves from getting old. Mindset. I'm too old for that. I'm old. I can't. I'm giving things back. And yes, there are things that are going to happen as you age. Like things just work differently as you age, right?
Things start creaking and getting sore.
But guess what? The more and more you just succumb to your body saying, "Hey, if you want to do that, you got to work a little harder." It'll just go away. And I'm not pushing people to walk around with 6-pack abs and to do this. I'm pushing you to remove the unhealthy fats around your major organs. Let me be clear, right? I want you to get I want you to get this adipose tissue, right? This extra fat, right, off of your organs, from around your heart and from around, the stuff that makes you breathe heavy when you go up a flight of stairs, right? I've been there, and there's some days where a flight of stairs will knock me out, right? That's a position where you're like, that's God speaking. You say, you probably should do something about that. Yeah. Right. This, where we are here, we need to move it a little bit. And just keep moving, keep pushing, keep moving forward. You have a community of people out here. We're all trying to improve and maintain, and have the best quality of life. And here's the reason why we do this. This is all the reason. Number one, we represent God, right? We can't just say, I believe in God, I trust God, but none of the rest of this matters. It matters because it says something about being attractive for God. It's not for me. It's so when I talk about Jesus, I want people to see him through me. Yeah. I want them to see him flowing through my life. All the stuff that me and Jason are talking about, he's doing cold plunges by the grace of God. God bless you next cold plunge. I won't be with you, bro. I mean, we best friends, but hey, I can't rock with you. But the ability to get up in the morning and go to the gym, go in the afternoon, take your kids, all these things, we do them through the power of God, and we do them for the glory of God. Right? We want to be attractive to the world to draw them to him, not for us. It's not for a vain thing. It's for to represent God properly. Like he's given us this life. We need to take responsibility in what we do with our life. And so I encourage you to get started, whatever that looks like, whatever it feels like for your life. 10 minutes a day will change the trajectory of your fitness. So make the investment. And for those who have been doing it and will keep doing it, let's go. Set a date. Let's go.
Set a date. I love it. Keep moving. Warren, my man, will you pray us out?
Absolutely. Heavenly Father, God, we thank you because you are God over everything. And Father, Lord, I just pray, Lord, that this conversation, Lord, this podcast touches someone's heart, God, more so than them learning anything about fitness or about food, God. Lord, let them find you in their life, God, as the centerpiece of their life, Father. And I pray, Lord, that the words that we've spoken today, God, that they go out into the world, Lord, and they make a difference for your glory, Father. We put you first in all we do. And God, we thank you for the church podcast, Father. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right. Later, guys.